I want to remind women that they love men. And I want to remind men and women that when they love each other, worlds are born. Hi, my name is Alison and I'm the founder of HoneyBadgerRadio. In my original video on this series, I explained that I lost my defamation suit and what I was going to do going forward. Now I want to respond to some of the comments as well as a recent video by Count Dankula on his own lawsuit. Super quick summary. Feminist geek girl Sam Maggs really doesn't like men's rights advocates like me. She and her collaborators arranged to get me kicked out of a convention and then published provable falsehoods about why on the Mary Sue. I sued the Mary Sue for defamation and lost. Since then, I've been pursuing an appeal, and in my last video, I explained why I'm not going forward with it.
Why was the appeal incompetent? We have absolutely no idea. They did not elaborate or explain at all. They just said, incompetent, rejected.
That's Count Dankula explaining why his appeal got stonewalled. He was appealing his conviction for hate speech because he taught his girlfriend's pug to do a Heil Hitler salute as a joke, and then the joke went viral.
And gave us absolutely no explanation as to why.
Same thing happened in my case. The judge submitted a judgment that was incomplete because it had no legal support for his decision. When I finally got a firm to represent the appeal, the case got thrown to an intern, then thrown to another intern. I was lucky because one in that sequence of interns actually cared about her job, and after I rode her ass for a bunch of meetings, she figured out we had a solid case because the judgment was incomplete. Then the case was thrown to another intern. Count Dankula's lawyer not only faced the destruction of his reputation, he faced criminal charges for representing Count Dankula in his appeal. Lawyers that go up against the system get hounded out of it, and yet he still did it. He failed, but he did it. He's a unicorn among lawyers. Most won't threaten their reputation of going along to get along. Jacob Ingram writes, unless you have millions of dollars, your legal case is just a paycheck to the lawyer. They have zero responsibility to win your case and have almost zero obligation to work diligently on your case. So what happens is that you, the client, have to learn a significant portion of the legal system. You have to baby your lawyer to do their job and tell them exactly what to do. You can easily sink 5 to 10 years of your life into a trial, contributing more time to it than anything else in your life. The stress is unimaginable. And at the end of the day, none of it matters because the judges have ultimate power. They are literal gods. I don't say that lightly. They will and do control and destroy your fate. There's the law, and then there's the legal system. The legal system is greasing palms, rubbing elbows, and scratching backs. No lawyer wants to take on this case, my case, because it means being on the outs with the system and potentially ruining their reputation. And for what? Peanuts.
Is anybody else starting to get the impression that the system just does not fucking work? Though I feel that's by design.
Daniel Martinez writes, this is unfair. I hope that the appeal works better. We should call the press and get some public support for her. Alison, is it because of money? Maybe your heart can't take it anymore. I hope it's the first one because the community can donate the money. As a result of my previous video, I've lost at least one patron. He told me to get back in the ring and then left. I was working 70 to 80 hours a week, managing HoneyBadgerRadio and all of the legal work required to pursue the lawsuit. All that work and sacrifice, and in the end, all I had to show for it was a gigantic bill. It's taken me years to crawl out of the crater that left in my life. But here's what's really galling about all of that. Sam Maggs, who, with her collaborators, started the whole mess, remains immune from any of the consequences of her actions. Even the consequence of having to fight her own battle. She just went on to write and get published, as if nothing happened.
Is anybody else starting to get the impression that the system just does not fucking work? Our state can currently, at will, go around violating human rights, and we have no way to hold them accountable. How can we fix this?
I'm going to do a thought experiment. Imagine the current system. The same laws, the same policies, the same procedures and protocols, same official titles, same ranks, same education and career tracks to get to those ranks, same buildings, same institutions, all of it identical, including the nervous walk to your courtroom at 9 a.m. in the morning. Now imagine every job, every rank, every office staffed by a person who loves his neighbor. It's a completely different system. It doesn't matter how perfectly designed the system is. If people are not civil, if they are not respectful, if they do not practice loving their neighbor, the system doesn't work. Your rights don't come from a system of laws, a constitution, a charter. They don't come from lawyers or politicians or even voting. Your rights come from the love of your neighbors and their willingness to stand up for you and your willingness to stand up for them. Willard Fastow writes, laws and politics don't fix it. The big pop culture properties, intellectual properties of our day, are all fundamentally love stories. Lord of the Rings was about fellowship. It was about brothers in arms supporting each other against unfathomable horrors and resisting the seduction of evil. Fundamentally, a love story. Star Trek, with its warm humanism, is also a love story. It's a love story about the human spirit and what we're capable of when we work together. Harry Potter, which has dominated the bestseller list for decades now, was a story about a mother's sacrifice for her son. And then Star Wars, which is possibly one of the most powerful love stories in pop culture. It's a story of a son's forgiveness towards his father, and in return, his father's sacrifice to save the life of his son. Very, very powerful love story, very powerful stuff. The stories that define and inspire us are at their heart love stories. The love of brothers in arms, the love for a mother for her son, the love for a father holds for his son and his willingness to sacrifice for him, and his son's willingness to forgive his father, a man's love for the women in his life. These are all stories that resonate with us. Although I think they're missing, there's one love story missing. Maybe you can guess what that one is. Our cultural heritage has been taken over by parasites. They are puppeteering its desiccated corpse like some horrible reality TV remake of the Body Snatchers. The way that these destructives look at the world is fundamentally misanthropic and nihilistic. They can't connect to what made these properties great, so they can't inspire people to care about their brittle, shriveled screeds. And then they use the media to batter down any opposition with cries of misogyny. Evil can't create. It can only appropriate. Years ago, I predicted that our civilization was on a path to self-destruction because it embraced one flawed narrative, the false accusation that civilization itself is constructed for the benefit of men at the expense of women. As a result of this ideological gaslighting, the relationship between men and women is reframed from partnership to exploitation. Masculinity is oppression. Femininity is victimhood. From there, the rot ripples outward. Men become suspicious of other men, women of other women, and both start to loathe themselves and seek to escape being men and women. I'm tired of the hatred and the vitriol. I'm tired of watching men be blamed for things that they had no hand in. I'm tired of hearing how men never cared about women throughout history, never ever, not until feminism made them care through weaponized nagging. I'm tired of watching women destroy their happiness for the callous ambition and greed of others. And I'm tired of watching our civil society evaporate into nothing under the relentless assault of cynicism and exploitation. We need something new. I know that it's sad that I lost my defamation case. I know a lot of people wanted to see justice done, not just on the principle, but also for myself, personally. But I've always learned more from my losses than my wins. Although don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking wins. Wins are great. They're why you can continue to exist, to have more losses. Anyway, the stories that define us culturally were all originally rooted in love. We need to get back to that. We need to write more love stories. I want to do just that. I want to remind women that they love men. And I want to remind men and women that when they love each other, worlds are born. If that's something you feel like you'd like to support or be a part of, then please go here to check out my new initiative and see how you can help me make that happen. I'll be honest, it is my heart that can't take this anymore. I need to do something positive and uplifting. I want something else to my name. And nothing's over yet in regards to the appeal. It's still in the system, and it may not be going forward just yet, but it also isn't going away. Thank you for your kind attention, and I do hope you consider supporting my new initiative to bring more love stories into the world. Speaking of love stories, here's some bonus content!